What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
Over the last year and a half, high up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, leveling the land, building houses. They call it an intentional community based around shared ancestry, a long-winded way of saying something really quite simple.
I think we would generally be called far right, sure.
It's called Return to the Land, and they invited me in. A lot of people are going to be, why are you making Nazi references?
Right. Well, why wouldn't I?
A seemingly bucolic and sometimes surreal experience. But this is built on a radical modern premise, made possible because of a new political and technological moment. One with strong ties to the most active far-right groups in the US. Instead of taking to the streets, they are building their own, for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
But in this southern US state, people who have lived through segregation once fear it is returning.
When you hear things like that, it causes you to be fearful, and you don't know who to trust.
Its founder says he is building a fortress for the white race.
It's a racial association. I kind of want to ask you, after seeing this, do you think what we're doing is immoral?
Shalom. I want to start this off by giving honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Wahawakak Wadash. Peace and salutations to the elect men of Israel, starting with the elder apostles of GMS on down, to the rest of you brothers and the brothers that I labor with, who are all pushing forth the will and doctrine of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, in all faith, truth, and sincerity, according to the true understanding of the scriptures. To all of you, I say Shalom. So, I'm going to start this off by reading Psalms chapter 83 and verse 5. It says, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." Right? And, that word confederate basically, goes into making, an alliance, an agreement, So they're... and this is in regards to Esau, Edom, who the world ignorantly knows is these so-called white people, starting with the elites on down. But I just came across this video, and I've seen a post prior to, but I actually found a video in regards to this, but you could definitely see where this is leading to, and Esau already, throughout the entire world, already makes places, homes and things like that, set up to be set apart from Jake. You Israelites, that the world really knows or has been called and labeled Black, Latinos, and Native American Indians. This is just an organization that's open with it, basically, if you will, in regards to, the house of Esau, the house of Edom, right? Because the elites, they do it in a way to where, they hide the knife, if you will, that's supposed to stab you in the back. But you got, these that's, openly carrying it, for you to see. But this is just this is his house being divided against itself. And watching this, it just reminded me of the movie Civil War, because in the movie Civil War you had the already established government where the president was at, and then you had a whole nother force called the Western Forces, which was basically like a rebellious group that was going against the already established government. And they went on to have that civil war and go on to kill the president in the movie, But I'm gonna play a few parts of this, to get specific points. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but just a few parts of this. Like the Elder Tahar be saying, this is fair use, which it'll be in the description nonetheless. But regardless of that, you could definitely see this being a part of that second Esdras 15. That sedition amongst men. But before I grab the scriptures, I'm just gonna play these few little snippets of this, and then grab scriptures. So, Lord, on this be edifying.
Arkansas, in the southern United States.
Welcome to Little Rock, where the local time is 4:27.
For the last few years, I've been exploring how an ethno-nationalist movement has been organising online. A network that aims to define countries by ethnicity, but which links across borders. And this is the place that one group has chosen to put that into radical, real-world action.
You want a white nation? Build a white town. It can be done, and we're doing it.
It is an extreme view, but it draws on more familiar arguments. That mass immigration is out of control, that Western societies are in danger of losing their fundamental character as a result.
So one of the arguments here is that this isn't about persecution of an ethnic identity, but protection of an ethnic identity, and that identity happens to be white. So we're going here now up into these pretty remote woods to really put that to the test.
We are driving deep into the Ozark Mountains. The group's leaders are not from Arkansas, and they've chosen these remote parts for a reason. All the locals I spoke to knew only a little about the group, if anything.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's not my choice.
Yeah, but do you think they should have the freedom to do it?
That's what they want to do.
I think it's kind of a little fishy around here, but just be safe.
The leader of the group is called Eric Orwell, and he's invited me to spend a few days with them.
Hey, Eric.
He insists what he is doing here is entirely legal, and that's key. Because if it is, it could be a blueprint for many other communities to come.
Welcome to the Ozarks.
Thank you very much.
Into your home.
160 acres taking shape, forest cleared, roads laid, cabins built. Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And I'm intrigued to find out what motivates people to give up their old lives for this.
We met here.
Oh, you met here? Okay, so you came here.
I met her on like day 3. So.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a story. It beats Tinder.
Oh, I'm just going to say I think it's the change of our presidency. That's what I'm going to say, because I feel like that's where the change is. It's allowing people to have the right to be open for hatred.
That may be a feeling, but it is also backed by the data. These are all the white supremacist incidents, demonstrations, leafleting, recruitment drives, meetups over the last 4 years in the US, tracked by ACLED, an organisation that monitors violent conflict and protest. There has been a dramatic increase over that period. It has become a background thrum of nationalist activity. Patriot Front is the most active white nationalist organisation in the US right now, according to ACLED. Its leader is Thomas Rousseau.
Foreign races have never successfully assimilated en masse into American culture and nationality.
And the group has tight links to return to the land. Eric and Thomas speak on each other's podcasts and have fast-track membership for both organisations.
That's something that's key in regards to why I was bringing out that Psalms 83. You know, exactly what was just said right there. Because though in the beginning, you know, you see them showing, you know, these Edomites, you know, getting land and having their own, their own like family compound, if you will. And they only, you know, having it set up for, you know, other Edomites. But again, you see that everywhere. Anywhere you go where there's gated communities, you already know predominantly who they are made up of, you know. And if there's anybody that's not Esau in there, you know what I'm saying, they have every neighbor in there, you know, got a close eye on them, you know, because they don't want us around, you know. They don't want us a part of their world ultimately, you know. They hate us. They want to kill us. That's completely like within their spirit, you know. You got those that, you know, just want to be left alone, if you will, but nonetheless, we understand the origin, you know. We understand the origin story of Jacob and Esau, you know, that struggle that was within the womb. There being a separation from these two, you know what I'm saying, these two people, you know. It said 2 nations are in that womb, you know. One was going to be, you know what I'm saying, get up above the other. One stronger than the other, you know. They can see they will coming to an end. But again, just like how the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, he gonna do the same thing with today's Pharaoh. You know, being Esau, Edom, starting with the least on down. Then their house is separated against itself. So it's gonna be destroyed. It's not gonna stand, even with them doing this. But yet, there's something to be aware of, and know it's actually happening. You know, gotta make sure that you staying privy to what's going on. You can't just be, you know, moving willy nilly. That's not how the Lord made us to be. You know, we're supposed to be circumspect. As the scriptures go on to say. Wise as serpents, harmless as doves. You know, so staying in the know, understanding the play that's trying to be run. You know, and being on the defense, if you will. You know, under the Lord's defense, to be specific. Keep yourself out the way. Keep yourself in position to be able to still receive that salvation. You know. Because all this is just Satan. but I'm gonna play a little bit more.
It is quite comfy. As for excluding people, I don't see it that way. We're trying to embrace our culture and our heritage. It's been denigrated, if you ask me. We've turned into a melting pot of a country for a long time now.
There is.
Yeah, and that's completely true. You know, the scriptures go on to talk about that. I believe it's in that same chapter. It's Psalms 83. You know, being that melting pot. They're able to see it. That's how you know it's like Amalek versus the other dukes, you know, of Esau, Edom, going against each other, you know. But again, the Lord gonna come to wreak shop on all those that's wicked, you know, and that's what it go on to say. Within 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, you know.
Would America be better as a white nation state?
Better in what sense?
Would you prefer, you know, completely blank slate, America is just an ethnically white country?
I would probably feel more comfortable there because I'm white, and that's the way that this country was when my ancestors came here.
You also talk about Hitler in your videos a couple of times when you've talked about people who are waiting around for a new Hitler to come. Mm-hmm. And you said he's not going to show up. You have to do the work for that Hitler to arrive.
Hitler is a very controversial historical figure. I think the mainstream view is one-sided. It's informed by World War II propaganda, but also the contrary position that Hitler did nothing wrong that many people online say, that's also a one-sided view. I think all historical figures are complex, multidimensional, but when I say like you're gonna have to wait for that new Hitler to arise, I'm not saying you're gonna have to wait for a new person to start a new Holocaust. I'm saying you're gonna have to wait for a charismatic leader who's going to advocate for your interests, because that's how a lot of people see Hitler. I'm addressing how they think of Hitler, not my own view.
There are other people.
And another one here in Arkansas.
So this is the growing movement.
Right now it's growing very quickly. Yeah, we have applicants every week. I would like to see more communities so that people in all parts of the U.S. have this as an option if they want it. I would also like to see us network and branch out internationally to a greater extent.
Is there anything you want to talk about that I haven't asked about?
I kind of want to ask you, you know, after seeing this, do you think what we're doing is immoral?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could just see some constant division. But get into these scriptures. There's a lot here. This is Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2. It says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head." Right? And that tumult, you know, is you know, like a uproar cry. It being you know, like disdain. You know, it's nothing. It's a negative, you know, cry, if you will, a negative uproar. You know, or you can just grab it real quick because it's not good. There's yeah, it says to murmur, to roar, cry aloud, rage. You see? Tumult, to be clamorous, disquieted, to be moved, to be troubled. see what they say here. A loud, confused noise, especially one caused by a large mass of people. You see? And it's only going to be further confusion amongst them because, again, they're not set up together. You know, you got different factions that are making a confederacy, an alliance with one another, but it's all going to be against one another, you know, and it's going to be against our people as well. So we want to be making sure that we, you know, are aware of what's going on so that we know how to maneuver, you know. It says, verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. You see? They're taking crafty counsel. They're establishing these bullshit-ass laws. They coming up with all these different plans of how they can ultimately destroy our people, you know, with this whole Charlie Kirk situation. You see it's Esau against Esau, but yeah, they using it as a way to try to go against Jake, you know. And they ultimately gonna use this as a way to get to us, those that know the truth and those that are going on to preach the truth, you know, that are standing with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because it comes down to us, you know. They're looking to try to deceive the very elect, which ain't gonna be possible, but they gonna try to bring down, you know, all that they can as they go down, you know. It says, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, which is what they went on to do, you know. That's what happened with the diaspora, you know. They scattered us all over the place. And with them doing that, then they separated us from being a nation. Gave us all different names, different labels, to now we're separated as a people. And everything's upside down, you know. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, you know. Who runs the world? Esau, Edom, starting with the elect on down, right? The heathen are up above us. So everything's out of course because we're the true judges of the earth. It says that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. Nobody knows us to be the Israelites. But yet the Lord going to come back and make sure it's known. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. You see? And the confederate goes into a covenant, alliance, a pledge between men, a treaty, a league, man to man, you know? And that's what it says. 1530s to unite in a league or alliance. You know? So they making this alliance to get Esau together to push further for the eradication of our people, you know? They don't want us around. You heard dude talking about he'd feel safer if, you know what I'm saying, if we was all gone, but yet this a land that you stole. You ran from your land, if you will, you know? We was forced out of the land because we went the hell off. That's why we need to turn back, get right now, get our minds right now while we have the chance. Because the time is moving forward. The time is further dwindling, you know? Where you only going to have so much time to be able to get yourself where you need to for when things start turning up even more. So this is Psalms 49 verse 11. It says, "The inward thought is that their house shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names." You know, this is the mentality that Esau has, right? They think that they gonna be able to make America great again, which is them trying to hide that it was never great, you know? That, and they want it back to where they was open with them hating us, killing us, them being on top, them trying to eradicate us openly, you know? But that's not going to be the case. Yeah, this is 2 Ezra 15. I'm going to just start at the top. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, being this book," the Bible. It says, "For they are faithful and true. Fear not the imagination against thee," right? Which is what you see in the video, what you see in regards to them setting up all these wicked ass decrees, these unrighteous decrees, right? Looking to frame our people with their laws. It says, "Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee," you know? And that's them choosing to not believe the word to be true because they trying to establish their own. They're trying to be like the Most High. They trying to be like God. But that's going to be their demise. It says, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." And that's including you Israelites, you know, so-called Israelites, right? Those that's not truly of Israel, you know? Those that when place of repentance was open unto them, despised it, you know? You chose not to believe. You chose not to get right. You chose to continue to be wicked, you know? You are your father, the devil. So you going to have that destruction come to you. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." You know? What it say in, I believe that's Sirach, the 10th chapter, you know? "Such way the ruler is, so shall the people be also," roughly paraphrasing, you know? The rulers of this world are wicked, right? So the people are now wicked. It just like it says in Zechariah 1, you know? They forward the affliction. So the Lord is sore displeased with them. And that's a part of why he gonna kill them. But there's so much that Esau did that he got he gotta, you know what I'm saying, he gotta be judged for. And that starting with, again, the affliction that he has forwarded towards the Lord's chosen, you know? Our people, the Israelites. But I'm going to jump to the point here. It's verse 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So again, you're going to see these civil wars, these race wars, is going to happen, you know? And you're starting to see the beginning, you know what I'm saying, pieces being played. It's like chess, you know? How the game starts isn't how the game ends. You typically see, you know, the pawns get moved first, right? And sacrifice before you start seeing, you know, the rook, the bishop, the knight, the queen, the king get to moving, you know? But yeah, at the end of the game, one king standing on top while the other one fell, you know? And that one king that's going to stand on top is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." You're going to have those like in the movie Civil War, the traffic stops, you know, at the border of different towns or different areas that's been taken over, you know what I'm saying, by us select groups, you know what I'm saying, the people. It says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation." So they gonna be all up in and out, you know, of different houses, record shop. It's like what brothers was talking about a few days ago. You know, you're gonna have to get used to that smell of dead bodies. You're gonna have to get used to seeing dead bodies all over the place. Everything on fire, everything broken down. It's the time to be getting yourself built up in the spirit. That way you ready and able to deal with these things. But the brother, he had read this in the GNT on our highways. So I just want to bring it out too. This is 2nd Edges 15 and 16 in the GNT. It says, and I'm going to read through 19. It says, "There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government." You see? That great political turmoil. That's what we're starting to see now. And it's been happening. Because this ain't the start of it, but you could definitely see shit, they upping the ante on it, you know? It's definitely clear with this Charlie Kirk shit, you know? Not to speak too much on it, but it says, "There will no longer be free access to the cities, because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live." It says, "Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions." And it's like, did all these things, you know, you could tie it back to different movies and things like that. But like, it ain't to be taken lightly, because you can really see these things happen in real life. You know, the movies is just to desensitize people to where they don't take the times lightly. They don't prepare themselves how they need to. Mugs basically see and they're like, oh, okay, oh, well. And then go back to just doing whatever the fuck's going on, you know? That's like what the hell happened out here. There was a whole fucking shootout and shit. And Mugs talking about they thinking it's construction, which never happens. That's what they said, like literally. It sounded like construction, which never happens on a Sunday. And then come to find out, you got Mugs, you know what I'm saying, getting shot the fuck up. Jake ass ignorant talking about the car got Swiss cheese and shit. Like it's a fucking joke. But y'all gonna see, you know? It say verse 21, I will pay them back with the same harsh treatment they have always given to my chosen people, saith the Lord. And again, that chosen people is the elect of Israel. It says, I will use my power, and there will be no mercy for sinners. I will put to death all who have murdered innocent people. And those innocent people is the Israelites, you know? Again, Esau forwarded the affliction. So he got his vengeance coming, you know? This whole world got their vengeance coming, because this whole world had their hand in our captivity, enslaving us and our people. So it's going to be the greatest show showing our Lord's power. So we can't be ignorant of these things that's going on, and the things that they got going on behind closed doors. You know, this is Arkansas, you know, where we at. They ain't say the specifics, but they said it's within the Ozarks, you know. So definitely something to take heed to, you know. And it's definitely something to be aware of. So don't be ignorant, you know, of what's going on, or what Esau trying to set up, or what Satan trying to set up. Be not ignorant of Satan's devices, you know, because he's setting these things up to try to destroy us. We know it's what's in their mind. Satan is looking to kill, steal, and destroy. And we know one of his greatest tools is the wicked, you know, Esau, Edom. Never trust your enemy, and be aware of your enemy, you know. That's how we are to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Being aware of the damn serpent and what his game plan is, you know. That'd be the last scripture I grab. It says, Revelation 12:12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. We gotta rejoice because we understand the end result, you know. Esau is the end, but Jacob is the beginning of that. Is the beginning of it that followeth. You know. We got to make sure that we in position to receive that salvation. But it says, for the devil is come down onto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. He know his time is like a shadow. So again, he looking to try to bring down all he can with him. Don't be at that number. Be at the number that's going to be saved. So with that, I give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Wahawa Kakwadash. Till next time, Shalom.